So this weekend against Washington State, the Bulldogs did what they needed to do. They got the series win, like they did last week against Air Force, and they got the bonus. They got the sweep. When you go 3-0, you very rarely have things to complain about as a fan. And they did play better than they did last week against Air Force. Anchor and Cremarosa were both outstanding, and that's really what the Bulldogs are going to need from them going forward, especially with all the issues with the pitching staff, and I'll go into that in a bit. With this now they're after this sweep of Washington State, they now have a 3-game lead over everybody in the Mountain West, with New Mexico and Nevada right behind them. I think they both have 3 games behind the Bulldogs. So that makes the series in Reno perhaps the most important of the season, because if you win that one, you have the tiebreak over the Wolfpack. You probably separated yourself more over the rest of the field, and with 2 series left, the Bulldogs should, at the very minimum, lock a top 2 spot in the conference tournament. They should be able to handle San Jose State at home. And I've said this numerous times, you don't want that last series in New Mexico to decide any tiebreakers or anything in the standings. Now, I talked about the pitching, but let's go to the hitting. Murph Gray, until his grand slam to put the exclamation point in Game 3, that run ruled the Cougars, struggled. But since he was struggling, Caden Munster had his breakout weekend. He had 2 home runs. He was outstanding. And the Bulldogs are going to need him to bat like that. This is not about a 1 through 9 batting order like you would hope, but another dangerous bat at the plate will affect the other team's pitching if they know that Munster's and their guy that can really hurt them. They can't just walk around him. Like Washington State intentionally walked Murph Gray today. Oh no, they walked the guy before Gray, before the Grand Slam. That kind of showed their mindset towards him and how he might not be as feared as Leffler might say on the radio. Now the pitching. They started Bryce Armstrong today, and I don't want to see Armstrong in any competitive game. I want him to come in when it's 8-0 either way. But he started, he only gave up 1 run, which, I guess is the best you could expect from him. Then Tyler Patrick and Caleb Anderson finished the job. Didn't give up any runs. The most interesting thing to me was what Overland said about, hey, I thought in the pregame show he might be sick or might have gotten injured, but in the postgame show, sounds like Caleb Hay may have violated some team rules, since he suggested that Hay will not be able to pitch next week at Nevada. So that is 5 pitchers the Bulldogs were relying on or had been relying on for significant innings this season that are out now. I can't remember a season like that. You lose a guy, Jake Riding, before the season started that you were going to use as a starter. Vic Ariola goes down with back injury 2 games in. Then Cruz gets hurt. Then Townsend gets hurt last week in his ankle. Hopefully those 2 guys can come back for the tournament. And now you got this situation with Caleb Hay. That means the young pitchers have to start. Time for them to really get going. All right? Likes of Tyler Patrick, B.J. Rodriguez, Ghislaine. I'm sure there are others that I haven't mentioned. I don't trust Armstrong and Bergman, and Anderson is just, to me. He can be either or. So that means the Bats are going to have to win a lot of these games that are coming up, at least until we get to the tournament where it'll be even. It'll hurt play teams like New Mexico who are built for altitude. But what we saw today against Washington is some of the Bats are going to have to do the rest of the way, at least until a regular season title is clinched. And we got to see them do this again at Nevada. Won't be as bad, but as a team the Bulldogs should beat. All right, you beat them once at Fresno in the series. Now, you have to play better at the Wolfpack than you did the last 2 weekends. You play better this week, as I said at the start, but going forward, when you have been on less than 2 outs, gotta score them. And your pitchers gotta come through. Anchor and Cremarosa gonna have to pitch better. They cannot have a bad day, I'll put it that way.